at 6. And now, the newscast that is looking out for you. The Emmy Award-winning UPN 9 News at 10 with Brenda Blackman, Rollin Smith, Stormfield's weather, and Sports Team 9, Russ Salzberg and Monica Pellegrini. This is UPN 9 News.
Tonight, America strikes back, this time from the ground. Special forces move in.
Then Lisa Beamer's brave move. Her husband fought off terrorists. Now she is taking the same flight.
But right now, anthrax by mail. Another postal worker infected. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, the feds say they are closing in on the trail of assault.
They are piecing it all together, step by step, inch by inch. The FBI mapping out where those anthrax-laced letters came from. But today, more disturbing news. 2 more cases, one at a local newspaper, the other a post office in New Jersey. We have team coverage tonight, and Mike Gilliam is live in Midtown. But first, we go to Brenda Flanagan in Hamilton, New Jersey, with more on this story. Brenda?
Well, Rollin, what we've got is 3 cases of anthrax. This is skin anthrax. 2 of them have been confirmed. 1 of them is probable. Now, they're all recovering, and they're all connected through this mail sorting facility that you see behind me. Now, today, the FBI focused its investigation on a mailbox in a small neighborhood not 10 miles from here.
I'm just angry, frustrated that it's happening right here in the backyard.
Somewhere along these quiet suburban streets in Ewing, the FBI thinks a letter carrier named Terry contracted skin anthrax back in September. At first, customers here were told,
well, she got bit by a spider and was very allergic to it and had to go to the hospital.
Apparently she has anthrax.
I feel very bad. I like her.
Today, postal inspectors closed the small post office where Terry worked, and they confirmed another case of skin anthrax, the second infection at the large Hamilton mail processing facility. This case in a 35-year-old mail sorter.
It's consistent with a more recent exposure, but we will not know that until we do an analysis of the timeline.
Hazmat testing for anthrax spores continues at this facility, which processed the 2 contaminated letters sent to the U.S. Senate and NBC News. It's still closed, and mail's being sorted outside. Meanwhile, federal authorities confirmed they've tracked both tainted letters to a specific mailbox along Terry's route.
You may even see a mailbox or a collection box being removed. We are going to probably be testing on various avenues for the potential that there is anthrax spores somewhere in that particular area.
Are you worried somebody around here could have mailed that letter?
No, not here, no.
Agents will retrace Terry's steps where another letter carrier is currently filling in. She's very stressed.
I got mail to deliver and I just want to go home.
Now, as that investigation continues, all of the postal workers in Ewing and all of the 1,000 workers here in Hamilton are going to be getting a 7-day course of antibiotics. That's just as a precaution. That recommendation has not been made for the public around here yet. I'm Brenda Flanagan reporting live from Hamilton Township, Mercer County for UPN 9 News. Back to you, Brenda.
Brenda, thank you. The other anthrax case tonight, a worker from the New York Post, another media organization, the target of terrorism. Now officials are trying to track down the source of that case. Mike Gilliam is live in Midtown with the very latest for us. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, Brenda. They are trying to track this down and stop it. Now, all of this comes at a time when the feds are saying that they believe that the anthrax used in all the other cases is from the same strain. The Fox News ticker tells the story. Post-traumatic stress. Fourth city anthrax case hits New York Post. The latest victim is 30-year-old Johanna Huden, an assistant in the editorial department.
A biopsy was taken early this week. It revealed a negative. At the same time, some blood samples were taken, and those blood samples returned a positive.
The results came back Thursday night, but it's believed Huden contracted cutaneous anthrax around September 22nd, which is about the same time as the other cases in the city. They include a woman believed to have been infected by anthrax spores at NBC, and a woman who opens mail to CBS's Dan Rather. A 7-month-old boy who visited ABC News headquarters was also infected. The Post employee isn't sure how she contracted the disease. News Corporation owns the Post and WWOR-TV. Of 11 people tested, only Huden tested positive for anthrax, and doctors say she's all but cured.
She's in the office right now, and she's working. She's in good shape, and you know, she's talking with her colleagues. she's happy.
The victim's symptoms included a lesion on her finger, which became infected. She was initially treated with antibiotics and then switched to Cipro. At City Hall, the mayor again urged calm.
We already have a week's experience with this, right? 4 people have contracted anthrax. 4 people are cured.
But outside the post, workers had mixed reactions to the news.
I'm really not concerned about it.
Well, now that it's in my building, it's obviously a concern.
The anthrax-laced letters are a cause of concern for postal workers who say their bosses aren't doing enough.
When are they going to give us some real protection? Or will they have to wait until someone dies?
And as far as the case at the post is concerned, the mayor says it appears that that building is safe because no one else has contracted anthrax there since September 22nd. In Times Square, Mike Gilliam, UPN 9 News. Back to you, Roland.
All right, Mike, thank you. Now, tense moments at the Greyhound bus terminal in Philadelphia. It was evacuated after explosives were found. Police say an employee found a suitcase containing material that looked like a military explosive. The bomb squad removed the bag from the station, saying that there was enough plastic explosive to take down the entire building.
Recovered was 1/3 of a pound of C4, which is a high explosives, and approximately 1,000 feet of military detonation cord.
Officials also say the explosive found was the type used to blast a hole in the side of the USS Cole.
On the military front, ground troops are now doing battle in Afghanistan. About 100 Special Forces commandos were deployed for the first time since airstrikes were launched nearly 2 weeks ago. But it was a move military officials had expected.
Afghanistan and those there have withstood war for many, many years. They are battle-hardened. There are very few of us who are confident that just an air campaign alone would necessarily help us achieve our objectives.
Defense officials say Special Forces commandos are on the ground in Afghanistan, and they say more troops are ready for raids meant to root out Osama bin Laden and his top aides.
They are experts at developing intelligence. From on the ground, ground forces can provide intelligence that we have no capability to from a signals collector or from the air from visual photography.
Meanwhile, for a 13th day, the U.S. launched intense airstrikes against Taliban targets in the Afghanistan city of Kandahar. Military officials say 18 planned targets were hit yesterday, including airfields and military training facilities. The U.S. now believes it has effectively disrupted the Taliban's ability to communicate.
The president is determined that when this war is done, that Afghanistan will not be territory from which one can launch and train and house and abet terrorists.
Tonight, Afghanistan's Taliban regime is challenging Washington to send in 100,000 more troops, saying, quote, then it can be a fight between our soldiers and theirs.
Her name is Lisa Beamer. Her husband was one of many who died September 11th. His is a story of heroism, and now so is hers. As she retraces and completes the last steps of her husband, Joanne Pileggi is here now to explain that. Joanne?
Roland, Lisa Beamer's husband was aboard United Flight 93, hijacked September 11th out of Newark. But Todd Beamer and other passengers took steps to stop the hijackers. Today, Lisa Beamer followed the path her husband took that fateful day and finished the flight he started.
I was confident that this was the right thing to do.
With courage and determination, Lisa Beamer went to Newark Airport today to board the same flight to California that her husband took 6 weeks ago.
Reliving his footsteps today was kind of I think another step in that process of just coming to some closure on what happened. It is my desire to use the heroic acts of my husband and the other passengers of Flight 93 as a way to help America rebound emotionally, physically, and financially.
Lisa's 32-year-old husband, Todd, was one of several passengers who took on the terrorists who hijacked United Flight 93. The plane crashed in rural Pennsylvania, killing all 44 on board. But before it went down, Todd managed to call and inform officials they were taking action.
His example is one that I'm following as far as saying, you know what, these terrorists have tried to scare us and tried to really affect our lives and control us, but ultimately, you know, we can't give in to that sort of fear.
When President Bush addressed the nation shortly after the attack, he praised Lisa for her bravery. She says making this flight is a way for her to support the president in his efforts to get people back on planes. But that's not the only purpose of her flight. She plans to speak with associates of her husband to see if they'll help support the newly formed Todd Beamer Foundation. It will raise money for the 22 children who lost parents aboard the flight.
I really have a burden to make sure that these children are well taken care of for the rest of their lives.
Lisa has 2 sons, ages 1 and 3, and is expecting a 3rd child in January.
Funds will not be used for the benefit of my family, but will be used to continue the legacy of courage, character, and faith that was my husband Todd's.
If you would like more information on the Todd Beamer Foundation, you can log on to our website at upn9.tv or beamerfoundation.org. Brenda, Roland.
Joanne, thank you. Time now for New York's most comprehensive first weather.
Well, here's Storm Field.
Well, looking at a mild evening this evening, 55 degrees. Humidity a little on the high side at 72% as winds continue to blow from the south-southwest at 9 miles an hour. With that south-southwesterly wind, as expected, what we have right now are temperatures that are slowly but surely staying around the 50s range, not cooling down as rapidly as they had been the last several nights. Still seeing some 40s popping up as you move well north, but for the most part, temperatures are staying in the 50s regimen. Tonight will not be as cold as last night, probably warmer by about 5 degrees. One of the reasons why the humidity, we've got a frontal system moving across the region right now. Front is bringing some humidity with it, but not enough moisture in there to give us any showers, and that'll pass on through as we go through the weekend. Lots of sunshine expected then. Overnight lows tonight around 45 in the city and the 40s elsewhere in the suburbs. Then for tomorrow, lots and lots of sunshine coming away with temperatures expected to be somewhere around 70 degrees in the city, maybe a little bit cooler surrounding suburbs. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy with a low of about 47. Come back to tell you more about the weekend and the week to come forward when I come back. Brenda, Roland?
Thanks, Dawn. We're back in just a moment.
And still ahead.
It's time for me to get in the air because I have to do it, and I'm ready to do it.
The terrorist attacks made her a widow. Now she's completing the journey her husband never finished.
Later, remembering and rebuilding, a town hall meeting with today's youth in Times Square.
And concerns over anthrax have fueled a market for some home testing kits.
It serves as a tool to help Americans fight back against terrorism.
But are they worth your money?
Now here's a look at some of the other stories coming up in our UPN 9 News Rundown.
You pick up a new Dodge, we'll pick up the interest. Now get zero interest financing on new 2002 Dodge car.
New Jersey, Connecticut, Lexus dealer.
A woman from Brooklyn is in trouble tonight for running up her late friend's credit card.
Police say that Sandra Miranda went on a shopping spree using the credit card of her friend Laura Gilley. Miranda was taking care of Gilley's home in Diker Heights. Gilley, an employee of Cantor Fitzgerald, was killed in the World Trade Center attack on September 11th. Police say Miranda charged about $4,500 worth of merchandise.
A mother and father mourn tonight for their infant son. He was supposed to be operated on September 11th, the day the terrorists struck, but his surgery was canceled. Now his family is blaming the hospital for his death. Corianne Mahalik is here with more on the story for us. Corianne?
Brenda, Jalen Samuels was just 7 weeks old when he was scheduled to have life-saving heart surgery. But that very morning was when the World Trade Center tragedy occurred and Jalen's operation was put on hold. The baby died 3 days later.
Sam, he's still smiling.
Because he was smiling knowing he was going to get help.
Happy.
It's heartbreaking for Carol Parrott and Damian Samuels of Rutherford, New Jersey, to look at the photos of their little son, Jalen, who suffered from what's called ECCD, a condition where the center of his heart is not formed, causing severe leakage to his heart valve.
I thought I was just going to bring him home because they gave me, like, okay, there's hope that I'm going to make him better.
The baby boy was hooked up to IVs and respirators in hospital since he was born. Not easy for any mother.
Someday I'll be happy to see him because he'll be looking good. And someday He's just in so much pain. I can't stand it.
Jaylen's surgery was canceled at Beth Israel Medical Center in Newark the morning of the World Trade Center attacks. His parents told operating rooms were to be used for victims, something hard for Jaylen's dad to understand.
I feel sorry for them like how I'm feeling sorry for my son. You know, it was a very painful day for the whole nation and everything like that. But everybody was at loss, so were we.
Jaylen died 3 days later. The heart defect that Jaylen suffered from was detected early on here at Hackensack University Medical Center when his mom was just pregnant with him. The head of pediatric cardiology who treated Jaylen back then says he was a very sick little boy, and it's difficult to say if the delay could be blamed for his death.
Waiting for the baby's valves to become a little more stiff so the surgery will be better, but you're also putting the baby at risk the longer you wait. So it's a balancing act.
Children's Hospital of New Jersey at Newark Beth Israel Medical Center released this. Any patient that comes in with a serious or emergent condition is treated appropriately, whether he or she requires surgery or another type of intervention. This is regardless of what is going on outside of our hospital.
And I know if anybody was in our situation, they would want their son to have that surgery that day, no matter what's going on in the world.
The couple says they plan to sue Beth Israel of Newark. Roland.
All right, Corinne, thank you. Losing the Democratic primary for mayor was hard for Freddie Ferrer, but now he is supporting Mark Green. It is in a show of unity. The former Democratic opponent made the endorsement today, and Chris O'Donoghue has that story.
It took 3 face-to-face meetings in the last 18 hours for this to happen. Freddie Ferrer endorsing Mark Green as the Democratic mayoral candidate to face Republican Mike Bloomberg.
For Mark, the work of the people is not something you do when you get bored. It's the job of his life. That's why I'm very proud to stand here and endorse his candidacy.
Backed by a who's who in the Democratic Party, Green promised a united party would unite the city.
My dream has been to be the mayor who leads the New York comeback. And Freddie Ferrer and the supporters up here on this podium will be indispensable partners in that cause and in that government.
On the face of it, this is a Democratic Party solidly unified, but underneath are still the lingering questions of who was behind the race-baiting tactics in the final days of the runoff election.
We saw at the end of this campaign, we don't know who did it, but we saw leaflets and billboards and phone calls that appealed to the worst instincts of New York and America.
One by one, the speakers disavowed the flyers and phone calls that flooded some white neighborhoods, alarming voters about the Reverend Al Sharpton's influence in a Ferrer administration. Sharpton was there today but said nothing. But Congressman Charlie Rangel used a startling analogy to describe how he felt about it.
Some people somewhere found some anthrax and threw it into the campaign on the last couple of days. And we've had to bring a mending team.
Mark has told me personally, sitting across the table from me, he knew nothing about it, and I take him at his word.
Green has promised an investigation that he hopes will also satisfy Ferrer supporters. Chris O'Donoghue, UPN 9 News.
Next on UPN 9 News, the battle to get out of Battery Park.
Plus, what airport employees say needs to be done to keep us safe.
Coming up, Snoop is in the doghouse after a run-in with police. Find out why.
And pop diva Britney Spears. Find out who she's really a slave to.
Plus, here's a look at some of the other stories coming up on our UPN 9 News Rundown.
Monday on UPN 9 News.
It's just a mess.
A contracting nightmare.
Everything that's been done to it has been done wrong.
And 2 sides to this big dilemma.
Who said that? She said that?
Watch what happened when we brought another contractor in to check it out.
I could pick this place apart.
Unfinished business. Monday at 10, only on UPN 9 News. News sponsored by Hyundai, where driving is believing. Test drive one at your local Hyundai dealer today.
Michael Edo owns a Hyundai Elantra.
I drive 1,000 miles a week, and the gas mileage is outstanding.
The Elantra earned 5 stars from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. It comes with the freedom of America's best warranty and a long list of standard features, including front and side airbags and air conditioning.
It drove like a much more expensive car.
The Hyundai Elantra at $12,549. It's a solid value. Hyundai, helping kids fight cancer.
Listen up. I'm gonna drop you off while I shop. Now I want you to have fun, but play nice. Bye, sweetie.
Bye.
Thanks to tool territory at Sears, guys are having more fun at the mall. It's like an amusement park for tools with brands from Arrow to Zircon. So many tools you can't swing a hammer without hitting another hammer. New tool territory at Sears, where tools rule.
One candidate for mayor has built a company from scratch and created jobs. One candidate has balanced massive budgets and been accountable for results. One candidate for mayor is independent of the special interests. A $4 billion deficit looms. A recession threatens New York. One candidate has the economic and financial skills to get the job done, and the independence to get it done for us. Mike Bloomberg for mayor, a leader, not a politician.
Introducing the next great Jeep idea, Jeep Liberty. With a 210 horsepower V6 and a highly capable new suspension, it can take you miles away and back again. Jeep Liberty, incredibly capable, surprisingly affordable. Check one out at your Jeep dealer.
A male student was found in the woods.
Was it werewolf?
Oz is under house arrest.
Get away from the cage.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Sunday at 8.
It was an upscale Manhattan address until September 11th.
Now Battery Park City is more like a war zone. Some tenants want out. Others are threatening court battles over pre-disaster rents. The I-Team's Joe Collin brings us this exclusive report on life at Ground Zero.
While the rest of New York slowly returns to normal, there is no escape for residents of Battery Park City. They are surrounded by the remnants of September 11th. The still smoldering ruins, cranes plucking twisted steel from the pile, barges being loaded with millions of pounds of debris, police and National Guardsmen standing sentinel on every corner. One of the city's most exclusive enclaves has become combination demolition site and armed encampment.
We've lost all of our services. We don't have the basic things. We don't have grocery stores. We don't have drug stores. We've got to walk a long way for transportation.
Rental rates in Battery Park City are astronomical. A one-bedroom apartment could cost $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Two bedrooms are going for up to $7,000. But with the quality of life here declining so dramatically, residents are now demanding major rent reductions or they're moving out altogether. Teresa Locklear lived in Tribeca Bridge Tower until now.
I'm just about to move out this weekend, yeah.
Why?
I have a son, and he goes to school in the East Village already. So we moved over there to be closer to the school because the commute now, with all that's going on, is too difficult.
About half of Battery Park City's 9,000 residents have returned since September 11th. Some tenants are threatening rent strikes if landlords don't grant rent reductions of up to 45%, envisioning years of cleanup and reconstruction. But Timothy Carey claims this area will be back to normal within a year.
When that 16-acre site becomes a construction site instead of a recovery site, it'll be like any other hole in New York City that's being developed. And it won't have the overpowering image that it now has.
Nevertheless, moving vans are everywhere here. Residents say 41 River Terrace is losing about 30 tenants. The landlord is offering 20% rent reductions, but it's not enough for investment banker Alberto Salamanca, who is giving up his $5,000 a month apartment and moving to New Jersey. One reason, the intense noise from cranes that run nonstop outside his windows.
We can't even sleep at night. We have a job to perform in the day, and basically if we are not well rested and prepared, that job is not going to be there any longer. And as a result, we decided to leave.
Realtors say most Battery Park City exiles are not leaving New York.
The majority of the people that I've spoken with and am dealing with are staying in town. They just want to be a little bit farther away from the commotion of all of this right now.
But as many leave, others look to move in. House hunter Ann Ashby says she is undaunted by the turmoil.
I mean, there'll be a lot of rebuilding, and people have had a tremendous amount of courage here, and so a lot of noise. So no, I'm not discouraged by it.
Joe Collum, UPN 9 I-Team.
A call today for the federal government to take charge of airport security. Right now, security is managed by individual airports and airlines. Some politicians and airport employees say that's not good enough. They want 28,000 federal employees hired to screen baggage at airports. Congressman Jerry Nadler says the extra manpower is needed.
Airport screeners. If this country were invaded, no one would hesitate to increase the size of the Army by 1 million. We have been invaded in a different way.
Nadler says making baggage handlers federal employees would make them subjected to FBI background checks and create competitive salaries.
Still to come on UPN 9 News, final preparations for a big concert for New York.
And young people meet in Times Square to remember victims and find ways to rebuild our nation.
Later, thinking of a night out, we'll tell you how you can get some of the best deals at restaurants around town.
Plus, here's a look at some of the other stories coming up in our UPN 9 News Rundown.
Some people like their cars. And some people really like their cars. The 2002 Accord from Honda.
Now lease a 2002 Accord LX for $239 a month for 39 months.
E.T. phone home. I am so scared. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Wait for my signal, then unleash hell. Hello, Clarice. I see dead people.
Really into movies? Then come to Best Buy for all your favorite movies and the coolest ways to watch them, or even make your own. Best Buy. Go ahead, turn on the fun.
Everyone's working together to get things moving again. Here's our contribution. 0% financing on most Chrysler cars and minivans. And if you buy now, no monthly payments for 90 days. Now it's never been easier to drive home a new Chrysler car or minivan. So take advantage of these great offers. It's our way of helping move things forward again. See your local Chrysler dealer today.
I think the first thing we have to ask of a governor is to have the courage to lead, to be strong, to cut taxes to help our economy rebound, and to keep our people safe.
In Jersey City, Brett Schundler said no to special interest and cut property taxes. He got guns off the streets and reduced violent crime 37%. Jim McGreevey raised property taxes 59%, and violent crime has soared.
We have to reform government programs. We have to do what's right. We have to put the people first. That's leadership.
Hold on. We've got more prizes. For the student who sells the most candy, a weekend pass to Coastal Kingdom to get out there and sell that candy.
The Volkswagen Passat. It only looks like $1 million.
UPN 9 News, winner of the National Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence, with Brenda Blackman and Rollin Smith. Now, here are tonight's top stories.
2 more cases of anthrax have been confirmed tonight. One is an employee at the New York Post, the other a postal worker in Trenton. The FBI says tainted letters sent from Trenton have been linked to a route in Ewing Township.
Ground troops are on the move in Afghanistan. U.S. officials say 100 commandos battled for several hours tonight before safely returning to base.
Lisa Beamer, whose husband Todd fought off terrorists on the fateful September 11th flight out of Newark, retraced her husband's final steps. She flew the same flight to San Francisco that he did to show that she will not succumb to fear.
A special forum tonight in Times Square at the MTV studios. A chance for the MTV generation to talk about September 11th and what has happened since then, with the help of a special guest. Judy Chavez is live now in Times Square with more on this story. Judy?
Good evening, Roland. Thousands of New Yorkers are going through the healing and rebuilding process right now, and one group we don't want to forget are the youth here, the youth folks. And tonight, they had a chance to share their feelings with New York's very own mayor. It was an intimate discussion with the future of America. Carson Daly hosted the half-hour live MTV special called Remember, Rebuild. The guest of honor, Mayor Giuliani. The mayor addressed those affected by the World Trade Center tragedy, including students from Stuyvesant High School, their school just 6 blocks from Ground Zero. All were displaced after the attack.
Every day since we've been going to school, we see police officers wearing masks and other people wearing masks, and it really makes us wonder, like, is the air quality okay, and is it safe?
This 22-year-old firefighter showed his strength as he stood in front of a live audience talking about losing his dad, also a New York firefighter.
My dad was my best friend. We did many good things together. Great relationship. He brought me as a young kid as the movie Backdraft to ride on the fire trucks.
With the uncertainty of the future, the mayor offered some good advice.
So basically, you have to overcome whatever fears you have and go on with your life. Otherwise, you let the terrorists win.
These 2 high school seniors are from the Graphic Communications Art School in Manhattan. They attended the show. They now say they're channeling their energy toward helping the victims.
We are trying to raise money and doing things to help the community and to keep the peace.
We're actually going to have another drive for teenagers because a lot of people forget about teenagers, and being that we are also teenagers, we wanted to try to remember them too.
In wake of the attacks, Daly says it seems teens are getting through this.
I think it's pretty simple. I mean, the youth they're saddened, they're angry but not impulsive. They want to work, they want to help, they want to move on. I think the youth has very much adopted this philosophy of we must move on.
Now, if you missed the MTV program called Remember, Rebuild, you can catch it. It'll be back on the air on MTV on November 20th. We're live in Times Square. I'm Judy Chavez, UPN 9 News. Brenda, back to you in the studio.
Judy, thank you very much. Rapper Snoop Dogg has been busted on marijuana charges. It happened earlier this week. Cops in Ohio pulled over 2 of his buses, boarded them with drug-sniffing dogs, and found 6 bags of marijuana. Snoop and 2 other men have been charged. Snoop is on the road with his Puff Puff Pass tour.
Some of the biggest names in entertainment are ready to rock for New York, and that story tops tonight's eBiz News. Madison Square Garden was getting ready tonight for tomorrow night's concert for New York. Paul McCartney is headlining the event. Destiny's Child, the Backstreet Boys, Janet Jackson are all on the bill. A one-night fundraiser will honor rescue workers and raise money for victims of the terrorist attack.
The Beastie Boys are also planning a benefit concert for victims and their families. 2 concerts will be held October 28th and 29th at the Hammerstein Ballroom in Midtown Manhattan. Joining the Brooklyn-based group will be the B-52s, The Roots, and many others.
Apparently, Britney Spears will be a slave for AOL as well. The pop sensation has signed over control of her cyber self, the internet service provider, making it Britney Central with chat rooms, ticket sales, and special promotions. Spears will also record custom versions of You Got Mail, Welcome, and Goodbye for subscribers. Tickets for her December show at Madison Square Garden go on sale tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Stay with us for a couple more minutes. Coming up, getting a restaurant deal out on the town.
Also, home testing kits for Anthrax. Who makes them and how much do they cost?
Later, a gift to the people of New York. Find out what makes this tree to be so special.
Plus, here's a look at some of the other stories coming up in our UPN 9 News Rundown, so stay with us for a few more minutes.
News brought to you in part by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car.
You're at a stoplight. You're making a turn. You're pulling into traffic. There are a lot of reasons every 2002 Saturn L Series comes standard with head curtain airbags. Those are just a few. The Saturn L Series.
Get 0% APR financing on all Saturn models. For restrictions, see your retailer.
It's Macy's Customer Appreciation Sale now through Sunday with 25 to 50% savings store-wide. Plus, use your Macy's card and take an extra 15% off regular sale and clearance prices. Or take an extra 10% off home, shoes, outerwear, suits for her, men's suits and sport coats. All day, every time you use your Macy's card. Exclusions apply. Take an extra 15% off regular sale and clearance prices. Now through Sunday during Macy's Customer Appreciation Sale.
You pick up a new Dodge, we'll pick up the interest. Now get 0 interest financing on new 2002 Dodge cars and trucks. And if you come in now, you can take advantage of no payments until 2002. See your Dodge dealer today.
Electricity has come back. Their phone service has come back. Now, it's your turn.
Of all the things you love about Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs, this may be the most interesting. Right now, your Toyota dealer is offering 0% APR financing for 36 months and no payment till 2002 on Corolla, Tundra, and 4Runner. But hurry, 0% financing ends October 31st.
The Business Report is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer.
Breaking news right now. The Pentagon is reporting 2 U.S. casualties tonight overseas. They say a helicopter supporting the U.S. military campaign in Afghanistan crashed in neighboring Pakistan. Pentagon officials did not say whether the accident was related to a commando operation in southern Afghanistan involving about 100 special operations forces. We will keep you updated as more information becomes available.
The fate of a man charged with gunning down a bride is in the hands now of the jury. Agustin Garcia is accused of killing his former lover on her wedding day. Cynthia Guaba has the story.
The family of Gladys Rickard left Bergen County Court disappointed today. They had hoped for a verdict in the murder trial of Agustin Garcia, who is accused of gunning down Gladys Rickard on her wedding day 2 years ago. After their lunch break, the jurors asked to hear readbacks of Rickard's brother's testimony. Juan Rickard testified that there were 4 children present at the time of the shooting. Defense lawyers say this is important to the jurors in helping them to decide on whether or not they should also convict Garcia on charges of endangering the welfare of a child. The jurors also asked to hear readbacks on the murder charges in detail. But after 6 hours of deliberating, jurors were sent home for the weekend. Over 3 weeks, defense attorneys have tried to portray Garcia as a confused man. They say he snapped in the heat of passion when he saw the woman he loved about to marry someone else. Garcia allegedly shot Rickard 5 times. 3 bullets hit her directly. But prosecutors call Garcia an obsessed stalker who couldn't accept Rickard breaking up with him. They say the couple had a stormy 7-year relationship. Garcia faces life in prison if convicted of murder, no more than 10 years if convicted of a lesser charge of manslaughter. Deliberations resume Monday morning. In Hackensack, Cynthia Guaba, UPN 9 News.
The patent for the drug Cipro is held by German drug maker Bayer, but that is being challenged in Canada. The Canadian government wants to stockpile the Anthrax antibiotic and says Bayer can't meet the demand, so it's decided to override Bayer's patent and wants a Canadian drug firm called Apotex to make a generic version.
Are you, Apotex, prepared to supply the product, irrespective of any patent issues? And we said, yes, we're prepared to supply the product. If Bayer sues, we'll defend in court.
The generic drug would only be available in Canada, but some U.S. lawmakers like New York Senator Chuck Schumer say our government should consider doing the same thing.
Your money news now. For people on a budget, some good news. Mayor Giuliani has extended Restaurant Week for another week. Fine dining rooms will continue offering bargain prices, about $20 for lunch, $30 for dinner. The hope is to encourage more people to get out and support New York City restaurants, which have seen a big drop in customers since September 11th.
Increasing concern about anthrax has opened up a new market for anthrax home tests. Only one company in Maryland makes tests right now, but it could cost thousands of dollars. Now, a company in North Carolina is scrambling to create a cheaper version, and they want it on store shelves by Thanksgiving. The price, $25 a bottle. Some major retailers are signing up for the tests. Others say they don't think they are reliable.
Positive end to the week on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained more than 40 points by the closing bell, and the Nasdaq ended up the week over 18 points. Now it's time for some good news, and tonight's good news begins with a big hand. Engineering students from Sussex County Technical School have created a 3D metal casting of a hand, which they say comes directly from the heart. They want to present the symbolic casting to New York City rescue workers.
Just let them know that they're not alone and that we're thinking about them, and we wish we could do more, but we can't.
The teens designed and milled the 50-pound aluminum casting in their workshop. The dedication reads, "Hand in hand, united we stand."
If we could actually present this to Mayor Giuliani, I'd be ecstatic.
I feel like a community of students because we're all working together to raise all this money for the firefighters' families.
Robert R. Lazar Middle School students have collected $6,000 for New York City's 911 Disaster Relief Fund. The Montville youngsters' latest fundraiser involves running on their school track for $1 a lap.
I know my staff and myself, we've learned a lot from our kids the last few weeks.
And if you have some good news you'd like to share with us, you can email those stories to us. The address is goodnews@WWOR-TV.com.
Still ahead, a symbol of survival given to the city of New York. Find out what it is.
And coming up, a tiny toddler is stealing hearts with her song of patriotism. And UPN 9 News continues.
Saturn is working to keep our economy strong in jobs, in commerce, and in spirit. As part of that effort, we're providing interest-free financing on every new coupe, sedan, and wagon we make. Come visit your Saturn retailer and keep America rolling.
Unfortunately, I have seen some economic slowdowns.
We have seen a downturn.
We've let staff go.
We don't have too many customers in the afternoon. It's a little off. It's a little off.
We are considering it an economic crisis.
Bloomberg created like 8 or 10,000 jobs to begin with in his own company.
I feel safe with a man that knows how to run a business, manage money, talk to people.
I feel a lot safer with a businessman running than a politician.
Michael Bloomberg knows how to make money for the city. Plain and simple.
This morning, a great city woke up to a new day.
Millions of people crowded its streets, businesses, theaters, restaurants, and stadiums.
And one simple phrase was repeated over and over again.
I love New York.
I love New York.
I love New York.
I love New York. I love New York. We love New York.
Now, more than ever.
Come, see New York united in its finest hour.
And you'll say it too. I love New York.
Mom, how did I get my name?
We named you after the place where you were conceived.
So that's why I'm named Savannah.
Some like the redesigned Chrysler Concorde for its engaging style and engineering.
But Mom, how did she get the name Concorde?
Others just like its really big back seat.
Oh, yuck!
Chrysler Concorde, ranked best full-size car and initial quality by J.D. Power and Associates. Now get 0% APR financing.
A gift for the city of New York, a simple tree signifying survival. Today, Oklahoma City Mayor Kirk Humphreys presented Mayor Giuliani with a seedling from their survivor tree, an American elm, which was the only thing left standing after the bombing at the Murrah Federal Building 6 years ago.
Mayor Giuliani, this is a seedling taken from our survivor tree, and we send that to the people of New York as a message of hope.
Some of the people that we lost had worked in Oklahoma City, helping with the recovery effort and the relief effort, and felt a real strong bond with Oklahoma City. And we will plant this in City Hall Park.
The survivor tree is located at the National Memorial in Oklahoma City.
And now here's Stormfield with the weather. Storm?
Well, it looks like we have a very nice weekend to look forward to.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, especially since Brenda's doing that edition of This Old House.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. It's with the new crew, of course. 64-38, the split for today, a little bit cooler than normal. However, tomorrow is going to be a bit warmer than normal. It's going to average out very nicely. It's not going to be quite as cold overnight and a little bit warmer during the day. As far as what we have outside right now, with the air moving around us right now, if I can get this to move, there we go. All right, the air around us right now, still fairly mild south-southwesterly winds, keeping the temperatures warm enough that we're not going to have a big drop-off, not a precipitous drop as we had the last couple of nights, where temperatures were well down around the freezing mark in many locales in the northern western suburbs. Not tonight, into the 40s there, and in the city itself dropping down into the mid-40s range. As far as what we have in terms of radar, well, not much going on. A few showers around here, but none of it reaching us. As it makes its way to us, it kind of breaks down across the Adirondacks, and that's pretty much what's happened to that frontal line. You can see the front as it moves through, moisture evaporates out of it. We get some clouds, a little bit extra moisture, another wave of colder air behind that, and still another back behind it. But as you take a look off the Pacific, no real storm mass coming our way. Now the highs, we're in a zonal flow, which means temperatures will be staying into the 60s, close to 70 around the city, and in parts a little bit further south. And the temperatures will hover back and forth a little bit as those waves of cold air come across, but they're really not going to affect us very much. So we'll see more than likely a warming up trend, maybe a little drop off, then back warmer one more time. As I said, off the Pacific, got a large storm complex here and another up to the north. These two come together, move across, might prove a problem late in next week. As far as overnight, partly cloudy, temperatures 46 to 51 in the city, and of course cooler as you go to the suburbs. Tomorrow, look for sunshine coming around and warming up nicely. And then for the 5-day forecast, well, no complaints here. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, all with plenty of sun. Some brisk conditions on Wednesday, but note the temperatures getting back into the 70s and pretty much staying there over the 5-day period. So some nice weather to be outside in. Brenda, Roland?
All right, thanks, Storm. The Yankees are on a roll.
Sports Team 9 has details. Here's Russ.
All right, let's see what Russ can do.
Sunshine.
See if you remember this, Russ. Woo!
All right, what a difference a week makes. Last Friday night at this time, the Yanks were down 0-2 to the Oakland A's and on the brink of elimination in their American League Divisional Series. But after reeling off 5 straight victories, the Bombers find themselves up 2-0 on the Seattle Mariners and just 2 wins away from capturing their 4th straight American League pennant. Latest victory, of course, coming last night in Seattle. Top 2 Scott Brosius, who was just hitting 1 for 20 this postseason, smokes a Freddie Garcia pitch into left for a double, sending home Tino Martinez to be followed by Jorge Posada, making it 2-0 Yanks. Then 2 batters later, Chuck Knobloch at the plate strokes a shot into center that Mike Cameron cannot get to before it hits the ground. Brosius scoring on a play to make it 3-0 Yanks. Bottom 4, though, the Mariners get 2 back as Stan Javier unloads a 2-run bomb off of Mike Messina, but that was all the Mariners would get, and who better to preserve the Yanks' 3-2 victory than Mariano Rivera, who posted his 23rd postseason career save and 22nd in a row.
I had to thank the good Lord for the opportunity to be in the playoff because I seen a lot of players that don't have that chance, a good player. Doesn't have that chance to be in the playoffs. So when you be there, I think you got to give everything that you got, to give the chance to your team to win. That's what I do. I mean, I don't care if it's 1 hour, 2 hours, or 2 innings. Doesn't matter. As long as we win, that's what matters.
Muhammad Ali might say about Mariano, the best of all time. So, games 3 and 4 will definitely be played up in the Bronx this weekend, as well as game 5 if necessary on Monday night. And according to Mariners skipper Lou Piniella, it will be necessary because last night Lou guaranteed the series going back to Seattle. And after being reminded of his comments this afternoon, he was sticking to his guns.
What the hell did I say? What I said basically was that our ball club had a lot of success this year, and that we played together as a team very, very well. We played with a lot of confidence and a lot of heart, and that we're going to come in here to New York and win a few ball games and take this thing back to Seattle. We've got the confidence that we can do that.
You know, they're not about to go away. They have too much to prove and you know, too many positive things to go on. But I understand where Lou is coming from. I mean, he made that statement because that's, you know, that's the way he's rallied his troops before, and that's his job, basically.
Starters for game 3, El Duque, right-hander Orlando Hernandez for the Yanks, while the Mariners counter with lefty Jamie Moyer. Meanwhile, over in the National League, well, that series resumed tonight down in Atlanta with the Braves and Diamondbacks all squared at 1 game apiece right now in the 7th inning. D-backs lead at 5-1, and with Kurt Schilling on a mound working on a 3-hitter, I should say that's now a 4-hitter, that is big-time tough to beat. In his 2 previous postseason appearances, the Arizona righty has thrown 2 complete games, allowing just 1 run. All right, from the diamond, what do you say we now move on to the ice down in Atlanta, where the Rangers will look to thrash the Thrashers and run their unbeaten streak to 4 games. Second period we go. Thrashers leading 2-1. Dave Carper sends the puck in. Eric Lindros tips it in past Damian Rhodes. Game tied at a deuce. Then here early third, Peter Smrek leads Peter Nedved nicely, who then loads and fires in the bullseye for a 3-2 Rangers advantage. And less than 4 minutes after that, baby, Theo Fleury skates across, fires on net with Mike York cashing in the rebound to make it 4-2 Rangers. 4-3 was the final down in Atlanta. And from the ice, what do you say we now move on to the links at the Magnolia Course down in Lake Buena Vista, Florida for some round 2 play at the National Car Rental Golf Classic. Tiger Woods on 16, 20 feet away, looks for the birdie. Tweet, tweet, tweet it goes. Tiger is 67 today. He is 8 under for the tourney. We now go to 18. Davis Love in search of a birdie of his own. He bags it. Love 11 under for the tournament. As for your leader, Kanami Yoku from the fringe on 1. He dials in the birdie. Yoku with the 65 today. He is your leader at 13 under par. And that's it for sports. Have yourselves a nice weekend. Ron and Brent.
You too, Russ. Thanks.
Okay.
Still ahead, a toddler that can certainly carry a tune.
Wait till you hear this little one sing. Stealing your heart with patriotic pride when UPN 9 News continues.
That I love staying beside her.
Stay up late and indulge your guilty pleasures. Learn what not to say on a date.
I haven't been exactly the most faithful. Pretty much actually never.
On Blind Date, then on Shipmates. Sometimes opposites don't attract.
I don't feel that we have that right connection.
Blind Date and Shipmates. Tonight starting at 11 on UPN 9.
It's official. Ford is offering 0% financing on everything.
On the all-new 2002 Dodge Ram.
The American election system must do more to protect the rights of its non-English speaking voters. Changes that include bilingual poll workers and voting materials for those who cannot speak English are fundamental to ensure the voting rights of everyone. Citizens should not feel intimidated when exercising their voting rights. The goal is not separate treatment, but equal treatment. All Americans should be able to participate in the democratic process.
Today on Blind Date.
I've always had a girlfriend, but I haven't been exactly the most faithful.
December 31st, 2001. Find us at